All right, we're back with our third part.
Yeah.
Third part in the thing. And before I get on to the last one that I want to talk about, I'm going to preface it again by, I usually use the word a lot recently,
Yeah.
to talk about a series that I haven't really watched a lot, so I
Neither
can't
have
really
I.
talk a lot about it. But, of course, Silence of the Lambs, Manhunter, Red Dragon, they all became a big film series, ending in a really sucky prequel film.
Yeah.
But,
I've never seen any of the films.
you haven't seen Silence of the Lambs?
No, doesn't interest me.
But anyway, the character of Hannibal was given his own series this season with Mads Mikkelsen, who acted in Casino Royale
Yeah.
as the Sheffer, the
Isn't the main villain?
the main villain.
Big.
Pretty much. So I've seen
This
the first
show.
episode or so, 2 episodes of the series, but I didn't know if the show was going to be one that was going to stay on, and I decided to wait until the series had ended, the first season had ended, and I'm going to go back and watch it now. So I'll be watching that fairly soon. Maybe I'll do a review on it if I think it's review worthy. But the one that I can talk about right now that I have seen all of, and basically we'll start back first, is that of course Hitchcock did the movie Psycho. That was followed by Psycho 2 years later, and that will be done by the same director that directed God. Did he direct Patrick? No, he directed Road Games. He directed Road Games. An Australian director that directed Road Games. Psycho 3 would come out a couple years later. It would be a little slightly cheesier, but still kind of fun. And that, of course, was directed by Anthony Perkins. The last Psycho movie went straight to TV, and it was it was basically a cool way to end off the character of Norman Bates. And pretty much we find out that Norman Bates is out of the asylum, and this is the first TV film. And basically talking about Norman Bates as a young man, as a teenager, and flashes back on his life. And we find out through Anthony Perkins in basically kind of a wraparound type thing, where he's calling into a radio host and asking for advice. And it basically goes back and tells the story of Norman Bates when he's young with his mom to the point where he kills her. And you find out that Norman Bates is married now. He has a wife. She's pregnant, and he's worried that the matricide thing is genetic, and his child will be like him, and he's preparing to kill his wife. She manages to talk him out of it, and he sees the error of his ways, and that none of that is set in stone. It's how he raises the child, and it gives Norman Bates a happy ending.
Yay.
So it was a really fun movie, and it's the only one that Shout Factory didn't, of the sequels they didn't put out. And by the way, Shout Factory, that was a huge ass mistake of yours. Hopefully you're going to rectify that. But then, about a year or so later, they decided that, well, since Anthony Perkins is now passed on, they wanted to bring Psycho to TV. And the way they thought, didn't know how to go about it, but they did manage to score one coup. And that was to get the actor Bud Cort, who was famous for the movie Harold and Maude, which was a dark comedy, to play the lead role. Now, you have to understand that they didn't quite know what they were going to do with Psycho at the time, and so they looked at a show, a popular show from back in the 70s, and they decided that would be the best way to go.
It was
So-
going to be an anthology, wasn't it?
Yeah. So they looked at Love Boat, and they decided to make a show called Bates Motel. And Bates Motel was done as a pilot movie in the 90s, and it had 3 separate stories that had kind of like a supernatural stuff, and there was like a romancy part to it. And basically, Norman Bates had died and left in an asylum because some reason went crazy again, I guess. And he left his hotel to another inmate, played by Bud Cort. Bud Cort goes and takes over the hotel. Crazy things happen in some of the rooms. And I think there's supposed to be a continuing story where maybe Bud Cort was crazy or maybe he wasn't. We kind of had to figure that out. But never came to be. And the pilot movie was about all you got. That was all she wrote for that one there.
Yeah.
Christina Hayes from Head of the Class was in it. I know that much. And for many years, that's what we'd hear. Until this year.
Yeah.
This year,
was
Bates Motel came out.
the influx of prequel shows.
Yep.
Bates Motel came on this year. Not the one about not the one about the inmate who inherited the motel, but rather about what we saw in 2 a lot of, 3, a lot of the going back to...
4, actually.
Was it 4?
4, yeah.
God. Going back to what made Norman and Norma.
Now, we have to remember now that they did update it so that Psycho, even though this is a prequel series, it is done in today's society.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And they did cast Freddie Highmore and the character Norman Bates, and it was extremely well cast. Did a great job.
Yeah.
He added characters, of course, and they made it a very Twin Peaksian type of a Twin Peaksian type of a series.
Yeah. I haven't seen as much as you have of the show. I've only seen a few episodes that I watched during a marathon that was on TV, and I sat down for a while and I watched it before I had to go somewhere. And I meant to watch the rest of it, but I didn't get to. But I watched up to date from where it was, and you could see the elements, the like Psycho elements. It wasn't just like, for example, we talked about Hannibal for a few seconds.
Yeah.
What I do know about that Hannibal is it doesn't make any logical sense for the canon, because according to the canon, the detective guy literally only met Hannibal Lecter to ask him about this killer. Essentially, he came in and he was like, "Hey, you had a patient. Who was it?" And then he gets stabbed, and then result of this. This one can perfectly fit.
Well, not perfectly.
Well, not perfectly, but it makes sense. You see what
there's a natural
builds up.
progression.
Yeah, there's a natural progression. It's not like random events.
Norman's a nice character. I just like his in the films.
Yeah.
And both the girl that plays Norma and the guy that plays Norman are amazing.
Yeah.
They introduce a brother character for Norman, and he is extremely well done. And the girls tend to like him too.
Yeah.
He's kind of a badass and more of a tough character. There are incest elements kind of hinted at, but not out and out total. And Norma can seem very normal at times, but should just stop. And there's one scene right before he goes to his prom that really just hits right home how messed up Norma is making him and why he's becoming the way he is. Now, the series has finished its first season very successfully, and it is going on to a second season. Thank you.
It should be interesting.
And it ended on a cool cliffhanger. Now, I'm going to talk about that for a second because I want to put my theory in here. So, spoiler, if you have not seen the last episode of Bates Motel Season 1, you can turn off the video right now at 8 minutes and 34 seconds because we're going to talk about it.
Can I?
What?
I haven't seen it, but go ahead.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
It's going to be
obviously.
spoiled for you.
Yeah.
But here we go in about... Okay, I'm going to do a 5-second countdown into the spoiler for the last episode of the Season 1 of Bates Motel.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In the last episode of Bates Motel, actually it's brought up in an episode or two before that, his teacher, who we've seen throughout the episodes, has been kind of like getting closer to Norman in a friendly way. But during an episode, we hear her being very upset about talking to somebody on the phone, and Norman kind of comforts her. It ends up with Norman getting beaten up by somebody in at the prom episode, which is the last episode of that series, and she brings Norman home to clean him up, and looks to be hitting on him. Next thing we see her. We basically see Norman seeing Norma and talking to him about how bad the teacher is, and how you know what you have to do type of thing. Then Norman is seen pretty much at home where he's walked and he's soaking wet, and his mom has just shown up, and basically she says everything's okay now. Finally, we're going to go back to normal. The last shot of the episode that we see is we go back to the teacher's house, and lying dead with her throat slit is the teacher on the floor, and it's kind of a pan through to basically, you know, everything's okay now, and we can see the teacher dead on the floor. Now, a lot of people have taken this to Norman has finally killed. However, I don't think so. I could be totally wrong, but my theory is that whoever she spoke to on that phone is the one who killed her, but we're meant to think at this point that it is Norman, but I really think it's too early in the series for them to get in. We know he killed his dad, but that was under serious duress. But I don't think that Norman's actually killed the teacher. I think we're meant to believe at this point that the teacher's been killed by Norman, and that in actuality it's somebody else, and that's going to make the story a bit more complex. And maybe Norman's even going to get almost blamed for it at one point, but it's too early. And I think if that's the way that it goes, and I think it's a smart way to take it, pretty much we're going to see Norman almost guilty of something and then being proven innocent, and so to see them go after Norman again is going to be highly unlikely. After, and that can explain a lot and why such a strange character as Norman in a strange town isn't caught sooner. So that's my theory on it. So
yeah, having not seen it, I couldn't say anything, but I'm gonna put in that I don't think he'll kill anybody until, and this isn't really spoilers. I mean, come on, you've seen the movie. What are you expecting to happen to his mother?
I think he's going to kill before his mother.
I
think that if anybody has to be a first death, we're going to be looking at the girl that took Norman's virginity.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it turned into a total bitch afterwards.
Yeah. Well, see, that's possible, and it's likely. Though I can see Norma killing her more than I can see Norman. I think that.
But we haven't yet seen Norma as the killer.
Yeah, I know, but that's why I think that it'll be that Norman won't kill until her, because right now he's like holding on to the crutch of her, and he's starting to do that whole like.
You mean to his mother or the crutch?
Yeah, well, he's the first time I saw him really do it was in the part where it was when he goes to her house, and she's like, yeah, well, it didn't really mean anything, and he goes back and he repeats something his mother said.
Yeah.
Kind of in her voice. He's kind of like hinging on the whole like mother personality thing right now. But I don't think he'll really fully snap into that until he feels betrayed by his mother. Like fully betrayed in the sake of like later on when she gets according to
marry somebody bad.
Yeah, she marries to somebody bad and stuff happens, and technically she betrays him. I don't think he'll really snap until that happens. Until he's lost it. Like from then on, he's thinking like, my mother will take care of me.
I think it's going to be a huge mistake if he turns out to be the killer of the teacher.
No, I don't think.
It's just way too early.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be.
It's like firing the gun just a little bit too early.
I think.
But anyway, this has been our horror movie to TV show retrospective.
Yeah.
And overview. Hopefully you enjoyed them. As we enjoyed making them, and pretty much we talked off the cuff again as we always do. We never wrote anything down or looked up anything. We just talked about the stuff we knew. And for me right now, it is time for tea, and for you,
it's time to think about Crystal Lake Chronicles.
Like
I'm gonna drop that one last. I'll explain that some other time.
I love that one. That's going to be coming up soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys, and it's time for tea.